All right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Dreambound. I'm going to tell you guys, this one, the beginning really surprised me because as we saw at the end of the last episode, Noah falls asleep and I wasn't sure. Is he going to dream? Is he just going to fall asleep? Am I going to wake up and be in his parents' living room again? What exactly is going to go on? Seeing it be in Kaine's teenager point of view was really not what I was expecting, but that is what we are getting in this episode. And with all that being said, I'll just let you guys hop into it. Breakfast the following morning was an awkward, uncomfortable affair. Kaine's father was, as per usual, absent, having already left for work. That was what he claimed, but after the events of last night, Kaine wasn't so sure. He hadn't been sure about what exactly his father was getting up to in a long while, but he hadn't felt the need to voice his suspicions. He hadn't had any evidence, and anyway, his father had always been a workaholic. That vision or dream or whatever it was he'd seen the night before suggested that his father had been doing more than just working in his plush, well-upholstered office. It felt so real. It felt like I was actually there. That wasn't just a dream, was it? It can't have been. That had to have been real. Somehow. Kaine thought, as he poked at his breakfast, of the blonde woman with the cherry-red lips. He saw her pose suggestively on his father's desk, her chest heaving, her blue eyes fringed with long, dark eyelashes. Kaine hadn't been able to get a good look at her face, but he had known instinctively that she was younger than his mother, younger than she had any right to be. She was probably closer to my age than she was my dad's. I had no idea he was such a slimy bastard. What a mess. Kaine's stomach felt as though it had been tied in knots. He pushed his food around his plate, but he couldn't bring himself to actually eat any of it. He worried, if he tried, he would be sick. Kaine, dear? Kaine's mother, noticing her son's poor mood, looked at him anxiously from across the table. Her brow furrowed with concern. Her whole face was furrowed. She couldn't hope to compete with the smooth-skinned blonde his father had been toying with, and her lips pursed. Are you all right? How could I be? This is going to hurt you so much. Yes, Mom, I'm fine. Are you sure, dear? You've hardly touched your breakfast, and you didn't eat very much last night either, come to think of it. It can't be good for you. You're a growing boy, so you need to get more nutrients in you. You need them to fuel that fantastic brain of yours. She winked at him slightly, though all Kaine could do was look away in shame. It's fine, I'm just not in the mood. You aren't in the mood to eat? Kaine's mother raised an eyebrow. That's not like you at all, my baby boy. Is it not to your tastes? Do you want me to cook you something else? No, Mom, it's not the food. You know I always enjoy your food. I'm just feeling a little sick this morning. Well, okay, but I'll put some extra money in your account so you can buy yourself a treat at lunch. You know, other mothers at your preschool would complain that their children never wanted to eat their vegetables, but not you. You ate everything I made you, and you asked for seconds. Your father and I couldn't have been prouder. Was my father ever proud of me? Not sure. Maybe he was once, when I was a child prodigy, at the top of my class without having to try. But getting straight A's stops being as impressive when you enter high school. He can't be that proud of me, or he wouldn't spend all his time in the office, sleeping with his co-workers. Kaine? Once again, Kaine's mother looked at her son, questioningly. You really are being awfully quiet. Are you sure you're feeling a little ill? Kaine set down his knife and fork. He didn't want to shatter the uneasy peace in the dining room, but he couldn't keep what he had seen last night to himself, not a moment longer. It would have felt unfair to his mother, keeping her in the dark when he knew, though Kaine wasn't sure how he knew, that his father had been playing her for a fool. Kaine knew what he had seen last night could not really have transpired, but he did not doubt similar scenes like it had. His father had betrayed the family, betrayed her. Kaine didn't know how long it had been going on for, but he couldn't cover for his father, not in good conscience. That would make him complicit in his mother's humiliation, and he loved her too much to deceive her. Mom, this is a bit of a tricky subject, but he felt more and more ill by the moment. I think something's going on with Dad. What do you mean, dear? Well, you and I both know he's not been home much very lately, and oh, yes, I'm well aware, but that's because of his work. He's been working very hard. Apparently, his current case is rather difficult. Honestly, I could never do what he does, and I'm incredibly proud of how hard he works. You'd never do what he does, that's a good thing. I don't doubt that he's been working hard. The evidence for that was all around Kaine in his lavishly furnished home. His parents' wealth was a well-known fact among his peers. His home was a nice one, grand but not ostentatious, and spacious alongside it. He was very lucky, really, but at that moment, he didn't feel it. A tiny shack filled with a family that loved each other suddenly seemed much more priceless than a big house filled with deception. He's been doing more than just working. I think you and I both know that. Yes, well, I know he stops by the bar sometimes before coming home to drink, but I'd hardly begrudge him for that. No man can work all the time. It'll wear him out. He deserves to let off some steam. If drinking was his only vice, I'd agree with you, but... Mom... Kaine swallowed. There was no easy way to say this, nor any means to lessen the blow which would befall his mother. The amount of faith she had in her husband was astounding, but there was something sad about it, too. She really does trust him. I guess she must love him a lot, though why, I have no idea. I don't want to have to say this. I don't want to break her heart. Why do I have to be the one to do this? This might sound crazy, but last night, I saw something. Something? Yeah, I saw Dad, and he wasn't alone. He was with another woman. I think she's his employee, or maybe a secretary? I don't know all the details, but Kaine held his mother's gaze. He paused, mustering the courage required to continue. Then, before he could lose his nerve, he said, I'm pretty sure that Dad's been cheating on you. Silence filled the room. A terrible, thick silence. I'm sorry, Mom, but I saw it. Dear, I think you must be imagining things. Look at the time, you'll be late for school. She smiled, but there was no happiness there. All Kaine could do was stand, nod, and swing his bag over his shoulder. He walked to the door, then looked back over towards his mother. She looked awfully small, sitting at the dining table all on her own. Kaine hadn't slept much the night prior, but, as it soon transpired, he wasn't the only one. Noah looked similarly weary when Kaine met up with him early that morning. Noah's hair was rumpled, and his face looked far too pale. Is he all right? Maybe he stayed up too late last night. Was he with August? I wonder what they were doing. Kaine did not ponder this for too long, however, and neither did he ask. He wasn't sure if he wanted to know. Instead, with a light smile, he said, Well, look at what the cat dragged in. Hmm? Noah looked at Kaine with bleary eyes, his lips pressed together. What are you talking about? You sure took your sweet time getting ready this morning. You kept me waiting. If we don't book it, we'll be late for school. Oh. Noah checked his phone. Then, he frowned. You're right, yeah. Sorry. I'm usually right. Sure you are. Asshole. Aw, you know me so well. Kaine grinned, then nudged Noah good-naturedly in the side. Why were you so late, though? What kept you, and why do you look so tired? I had a busy night. Well, I figured. What was he busy doing, though? Doesn't help that my mom was getting on my case this morning, either. She was busy trying to marry me off to some stranger, okay? What? Kaine stared at Noah, his eyes wide. All the things he could have said, I wasn't expecting that. I know his mom's pretty strict, but she can't mean to marry him off, surely. This is the 21st century. You heard me. Noah replied unhappily, still frowning. She wants me to get hitched. I heard you, yeah, but that doesn't mean I understand. What the hell do you mean? She wanted to introduce me to my dad's boss's daughter. Okay. Or something. Dude. I knew his mom was strict, but geez, that's some next level controlling shit right there. That's a hell of a thing to spring on somebody, especially over the breakfast table. I know, right? I could hardly eat. Why would she think I give a shit about our family name or whatever enough to marry whoever she tells me to? Ugh, I feel sick just thinking about it. I take it you aren't too enthused about it, then. What do you think? Noah sighed. I don't even know this girl. I've never even met her before. Why the hell would I want to spend the rest of my life with her? Good point. I'd be freaking the fuck out if I were in your shoes right now. Believe me, I am freaking the fuck out. Yeah. Dude, you're looking calm as ever on the outside. I never would have guessed. It's only on the outside. Internally, I'm screaming. Gonna lie, I kinda want to see that on the outside too. You want me to just start screaming? Alright, maybe not here, or people will think I'm murdering you in the mountains. Good point. Anyway, what the fuck, dude? If this is a shock to me, it must be 100 times worse for you. I didn't think of anything worse than you, or, well, anyone, ending up in one of those loveless marriages just for status. But hey, you'll always have me. Even if they sell you off to be a trophy husband, I can be your piece on the side. What? Noah stared at Kaine. A blush spread across his face, cherry red, and he scowled. I'm not actually going to get married. I'd never go through with it, no matter how much my mother presses me, so you don't have to worry there. And I absolutely am not having you as a piece on the side. Shot down, and so thoroughly. I'm almost offended. Anyone would be lucky to get a piece of this. Kaine laughed, then jabbed Noah in the side with his elbow. Alright, how's about this? I could always wear a little maid dress if that helps sweeten the deal. Would you like that? I don't even want to think about it. I really might be sick then. Aw. Kaine pouted. You're no fun. Did you know that? Yeah, you've told me that once or twice. Yet here you are, still hanging around me. You make me look cooler. Shut up, asshole. God, when I do get married, if I get married, rather, I'd only want to do it for love. I don't even care if my family disowns me. I'm not going to marry whoever they tell me to just to keep them happy. That's no way to live. You really are such a romantic, aren't you? Didn't I tell you to shut up? Kaine and Noah continued their walk through the mountains, past the trees and bushes which fringed the dirt path. August usually walked to school with them to complete their trio, but it seemed he had gone on ahead today. It makes sense, given Noah had been pretty late out of the house. Still, Noah spent all evening with him, didn't he? I wonder why he didn't hang about for him. Does that mean things went badly between them? Or does it mean things went a little too well and he's embarrassed now? Man. Kaine spoke up, his voice mingling with his footsteps, largely as a means to break the silence which had fallen between him and his friend. I wish I could stand up to my parents like you do. I thought you were close with your parents. Well, with my mom, I guess. Right up until the point where I told her dad was probably having an affair, I mean. I don't know if she's very happy with me now. Not that I stuck around to find out. That'll be a fun thing to come home to. My dad's a different matter altogether. He's such a hard-ass. Well, you're like the perfect son, so he can't be disappointed. Hard for him to be disappointed if he's not around, I guess. He wants me to go into finance or law or something, you know? I mean, I get it pays well, but it just sounds so boring. He thinks any other career path would be a waste. It's like he doesn't care that I don't want to be stuffed into some boring government job for the rest of my life. And my mom's no better, actually, with that. I told her I wasn't too sold on the idea, but she said I should listen to my dad. He's a wise man, Kaine. He knows best. That's what she told me when I complained. But he can't be all that wise, otherwise he wouldn't be messing around with a woman half his age in the office. Sucks, though. There's so much to do in the world. I don't want to spend my life rotting away in a boring old office. I think I'd rather die, actually. I want to do something that'll make a difference, you know? Or something where I get to talk to a lot of people. Or, well, it's a pipe dream, but I'd like to cook more. Kaine's voice trailed off. Noah hadn't, he realized, responded to any of his comments, not even with a nod of the head or a monosyllabic just to show that he was still listening. His eyes were glazed and looked unfocused, his head turned away from Kaine. Is he thinking about something? Hey, dude. Kaine nudged Noah in the side. Are you even listening? Huh? Loser say what? What? Kaine laughed, then shook his head. That hasn't worked since we were in elementary school. You really walked into it. Oh, Noah frowned. He looked perturbed. Was he blushing? I'm sorry, I was just thinking about something. Like what? Kaine thought he had a decent enough idea of what was weighing on Noah's mind, but it didn't hurt to ask. Well, Noah tried to brush Kaine's question off, but Kaine didn't let him. I'm not going to let him wriggle away from me that easily. Kaine pressed Noah again until, eventually, Noah broke down. I guess I can tell you, but don't tell anyone, okay? Not anybody at school, and definitely not my family. Yeah, this probably is what I think it is. It's gotta be about August. Oh well, I guess I should consider myself lucky that he trusts me enough to tell me. Even if I had to nudge him a little. I'll just need to try and look suitably surprised when he spills the beans. Why would I tell anybody anything? You can trust me. You should know that. If that isn't enough reassurance, however. Kaine grinned. Do you want a pinky promise on it? Please. Noah scoffed. Do I look 5 years old to you? Do you really want me to answer that? Wow. Maybe I won't tell you. No, I really need to tell someone. I mean, August and I, well. Noah inhaled. Then, after mustering his courage, he said, We kissed last night. Silence descended, deeper than the ocean. Kaine had preempted this confession, but he hadn't realized hearing it would make him feel so staggered. I already knew that he liked August. It was obvious. This was a long time coming. So, why does it hurt so much? Kaine? Noah looked at Kaine uneasily, unsettled, perhaps, by the silence. "Are you, alright?" "What? Oh, yeah." Kaine shook his head, then flashed Noah a smile. "Well, this is a good thing, right? Is this something you wanted?" "Yeah, I guess." Kaine smiled, then ruffled the top of Noah's head. "You don't sound too sure, but maybe that's because this is so new to you. Feels like it happened so suddenly. I feel happy, but confused, to be honest. I'll bet. I'm sure you'll get the hang of it in no time, though. Dating, I mean. You're crazy about August, and it's obvious he likes you a lot too, so I'm sure things will work out well. They have to. I'm..." Kaine inhaled. The air caught in his throat. He felt like he might choke. But for Noah's sake, he had to keep going. I'm his best friend. I can't afford to disappoint him. He might have August now, but he still needs me. Happy for you, Noah. You don't think I'm weird? Did I ever say that? Kaine grinned. I think you're plenty weird, but that has nothing to do with this. There's nothing wrong with liking guys, especially not a guy like August. Half of the girls in our class are in love with him. I wouldn't be surprised if a few guys are, too. Why wouldn't they be? He's really great. Yeah, he is. Noah smiled, but it was a tentative smile, one which was marred by a blush. Together, Noah and Kaine walked through the mountains, their footfalls dull and heavy against the uneven ground. Kaine tried to make small talk with Noah as he walked, but his heart, all of a sudden, wasn't into it. His strange vision last night with his father had already been weighing on him, but this was yet another burden to add to his ever-increasing load. So, Noah and August, huh? It's not a surprise that things turned out this way, but... Eventually, Kaine and Noah made their way to the school gates. This is the neighborhood, but sure. Kaine meant to head inside, but Noah hung back, his expression dubious. What happened now? Kaine glanced at Noah, a well-meaning query on his lips, when... Noah! A boy, a freshman based on the look of him, given how baby-faced he was, darted forwards to greet Noah, smiling broadly as he did. The kid was short enough that he could have been mistaken for a middle school student, but his uniform made it apparent he was one of their peers. Kaine didn't hang around with any of his underclassmen, but he thought he recognized him. Why does he look so familiar? Have we talked before? Wait, isn't that... Oh, and I guess your friend's here too. Silly me for forgetting about him. What's your name again? Kale? Kaine. Kaine! That's right. I'm so sorry for forgetting. I've always been awful with names. Such a dummy. I'm really lucky I have such a kind, dependable senior like Noah here to help me out. He's only been in the art club for a day, but he's been really useful already. Ah, that's right. This is the kid I met the other day when I went into town with Noah. And he's the same kid who bumped into Noah in the hallway. Must have forgotten, with all that shit about August to worry about. I think his name's Luca? Oh, Noah hung back at this, abashed, and glanced at his feet. I mean, thanks, but I don't think I've really done anything. Oh, but you have. Don't undersell yourself. I get the feeling my grades will get a lot better with you around to coach me. Noah's doing your homework for you, isn't he? Your advice has been invaluable already. I don't know how to thank you, really. But that's enough about me. Did your friend have a good birthday? Noah looked at the ground. Kaine did not fail to see the way Noah's eyes darkened, as though filled with storm clouds. His expression, meanwhile, was taut, intense, like a man on the edge. That's funny. He tends to reserve that face for when he's talking about his parents. Or about Asher. This Luca's pretty exhausting, sure, but he doesn't seem malicious. That incident in the hallway excluded. Did something happen? Yeah, Noah eventually replied, after a pause. I think he enjoyed it. And the present you got him? Did he enjoy that, too? Yeah, it went down pretty well. Yay! A beaming Luca clapped his hands together. I'm so happy for you. I know you spent a really long time picking that gift out. It would have been heartbreaking if it was a dud. I know you care a lot about what your friend thinks. Luca giggled, and once again, Noah winced. You'll have to tell me all about it later. I'm dying to know what happened. Maybe we should hang out after school sometime. Noah responded with a non-response, which is to say he was dead, silent. Kaine, not failing to note Noah's discomfort, frowned. Should probably step in. Sorry, but we've got to go or we'll be late for class. We're cutting it pretty close already. You should head in too. I wouldn't want you getting in trouble. So you're looking out for me now? Wow, you're so nice. I'm so lucky to be surrounded by so many kind people. Luca grinned. I wouldn't want to make one of my seniors worry, so I'll be a good boy and head off to class. I'll see you around, Noah. Bye-bye. Luca waved theatrically, then headed off. Kaine watched his departing back for a few moments, frowning, before he took Noah's arm. Come on, let's head off ourselves. Kaine guided Noah into the school building, and Noah, for once, didn't try to pull him away. He looked spooked after that incident with Luca, so much so there was something troubling about it. Seriously, what's Luca's deal? Why is he acting so overly familiar anyway? Noah only joined the art club the other day. They barely know one another. Maybe that kid's just friendly. But Noah wasn't being very friendly in return. Kaine and Noah entered the classroom a couple of minutes before the bell rang. Noah took a seat at his desk, and Kaine followed, his brow creased with concern. So, what was that about? What was what about? That kid. You froze up when you saw him like he was a lion and you were a gazelle. I mean, he's so tiny it was almost comical, but did something happen? Did he do something? Once again, Noah fell silent. He looked down at his desk, his expression imperceptible. He seemed to be pondering something, thinking carefully. Knowing Noah, if he does have a problem, he won't want to bother me with it. It's nothing major, it's just art stuff. Art stuff? Noah nodded. It wasn't the most convincing reply, but if he doesn't want to talk, I shouldn't force him. He's already opened up to me earlier about August, after all. It'd be unfair to expect even more emotional confessions from him. I don't want to burn him out on all this talking about feeling shit, not when he does it so sparingly. But I do wish he'd confide in me more. Alright, I get it. I'll let the subject drop for now, but you would tell me, wouldn't you, if something was wrong? I won't be able to help out otherwise. Of course I'd tell you. That should be a given. Stop fussing over me. You really are the mom friend. Alright. Kaine frowned, feeling indeed rather like a mother must after her child had waved aside an invitation to help. Is this how my own mother felt when I told her I was old enough to start tying my own shoelaces? That stings. Kaine smiled to himself as he took a seat at his own desk. August was right about me. I really am a mother hen. Speaking of August, the bespectacled blonde had been in the classroom when Noah and Kaine arrived. He had been fiddling around on his phone, but he set it to one side to share a not-so-covert glance with Noah. Noah returned it, and a telltale blush spread across his cheeks. Was he thinking about the kiss they'd shared last night? That must have been it. It would definitely explain Noah's obvious lack of cool, but he's being so obvious about this. If he doesn't want people to figure out what's going on, he should stop turning beet red whenever he sees August. The whole class is going to figure out what's up before the end of the day if he can't get his act together. Kaine looked at his fingers, which were linked together, on his desk. Then, he sighed. Not that I'm much better, I guess, staring at Noah like I am. I think I might be even more transparent. I guess it's a good thing Noah only has eyes for August. Otherwise, he would have figured me out in a second. Alright, class, settle down. Kaine's thoughts were interrupted by the opening of the door, then Miss Rose's girlish voice. It's time to take the register. Now, let me see. Kaine sat up a little straighter in his chair, his eyes transfixed to the front of the classroom. He knew it would be for the best if he didn't think about Noah. But Kaine had to wonder, as Miss Rose made her way through the register, whether this was possible. Try though he might, he simply couldn't get Noah from his head. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. Let me tell you guys, we already kind of knew from earlier in the story that Luca is bad news, that Luca had been bullying Noah, but we really didn't get any look into what exactly was happening. Luca's kind of a bitch. You know what? I get it. But this is a good chance to end this episode here for now. In the next episode, we're going to get a little bit more of Luca and his bitchy ways. A little bit extra of that, a step up. So I hope that you are excited to see that. And I will see you in the next episode for some more Dreambound.